Flames Nation, a special video chat here today, and it is my honor to bring back three members of the 2013 Big South Championship team, Vander Pol, Tomasz Gielo, and Tavares Trap Speaks. Guys, it's great to catch up with each of you. We'll kind of just go down the line, and we'll get to that 2013 Big South tournament run in a minute. And we'll start with you, Trap. Just update folks on what you're doing. And I know you keep up with Liberty from where you are in Raleigh, but it's good to see you.
Good to see you. How you doing, York?
I'm doing good, man. What's going on in the world of Trap Speaks right now?
Nothing much, man. Hanging out. Of course, trying to stay safe with what's going on. Trying to keep my peace of mind at the same time. Always good catching up, especially during these times. But for now, just working from home. Staying safe during the pandemic.
Speaking of work, what are you up to?
So I'm in banking.
Okay.
Still in banking for the past 5 years. Little real estate, consumer lending. So.
How about you, Tomasz? You're in Spain right now currently?
Yes, sir. First of all, thanks for having us. But I'm currently in Spain. I'm actually in one of the Canary Islands. It's called Tenerife. So life here is great because you live on an island, but during this whole situation with the pandemic, I kind of feel stuck over here on an island. So everybody hears on the news the situation in Spain is not that nice. It's not going according to plan, you could say. But I'm safe right now. I'm staying home. I'm playing professionally here in Spain. It's my 4th year playing basketball professionally. And we're just waiting for more news. Our league is suspended right now. So we're still waiting for the official decision from the league, whether the season will be continued in second half of May and June, or are we done right now and everybody has to go home. So I'm a little bit of I'm stuck right now basically, but I'm keeping my spirits up, and it's always great to catch up with some of my former teammates and with you, as you've always been a big part of our team throughout these years.
How are you staying in shape?
It's actually a pretty funny story. I live in an apartment building, so I don't have a garden or a yard that I can go and get a run in. So our club, they decided to help us out by bringing us bikes into our apartment. So I have a bike at my place. I have some weights, some bands that I can use, get my little workout in every day. Our strength and conditioning coach sends us a workout every day through a special app that we have. So I'm staying in shape. I'm definitely ready for the basketball. We have to finish the season in the upcoming months, so I'll be ready. I think it's right now the main priority is to stay safe, to stay healthy, and nobody will try to rush into a decision that could have bad consequences for everybody in the future.
Joel, moving on to you. I know for those fans that have tuned in the last couple of years with some radio broadcasts, you've been on with us when we've been at Kennesaw State. How is life now, kind of working from home as you go through the pandemic like we all are right now, and just update us on the family and how things are going?
Yeah, we're doing well. I'm working from home. My wife's school is canceled through the end of the year, so she's working from home as well, doing virtual online courses with her students. And then our son, John Allen, who turns 2 this summer, is running around the house nonstop, so keeping us on our toes. And but we still have ability to get out, get what we need, have some family close by. So as we have been obviously inconvenienced, but obviously been very safe and blessed for our health. So no complaints here, and just trying to figure out what a new normal is and make the most of it. So very blessed, and again, thankful for the situation that we're in.
Really excited to dive into this 2013 look back at the Big South tournament run. We all have memories of that week at Coastal Carolina, and just going back to look at the box scores of these particular games. It started with the first round win over Coastal, quarterfinal 1-point win over High Point, and then a win over Gardner-Webb in the semis, and Charleston Southern. It all just culminated on that Sunday afternoon. So I just wanted this to be kind of a roundtable as we kind of reminisce back to that particular run. And I'm going to present the first question. You guys can chime in. You started the year 0-8. You went into the tournament 11-20. And I guess for you, Tomasz, what do you remember about going into that tournament? And then the other guys, if you want to chime in on just the mental state of where this team was. You had nothing to lose, I would imagine, going into it, Tomasz.
Yeah, exactly. That was probably our mindset going into that tournament. I specifically remember our last two regular season games. First, we had a senior night for trap in Vine Center, and we lost. I think it was to VMI, and it was a pretty bad loss. And I remember we got back to the locker room, and everybody was kind of upset because obviously it was trap senior night, and it didn't go as we all planned it to. And coach was also telling us that, is this really how he wanted to let Trap basically spend his last moments in Vine Center? And that kind of hit me, I remember, on an emotional level where I just figured whatever is left this season, I think everybody just has to put their ego on the side and just commit to one cause, which is try to win games. And from that senior night, we got to go to Radford. We got a nice win to finish out the regular season. And then going into Coastal for the conference tournament, we basically were open-minded. Obviously, nobody was thinking that we were the favorites or we have a shot at winning the whole thing. But I would say during that first game when we didn't start pretty well against Coastal, we got down early, but we took their best shot. And after that, we kind of just everybody became relaxed. Everybody was on the same page, and basically everything clicked at the right time. And that's kind of what happened and what helped us get those wins during that weekend.
Trap, I'm going to go to you. I remember in that Coastal game, I think it was 8-0. Y'all were down, and then you went down 11. You hit a jump shot to kind of smooth things out. Then Devon Marshall hit a three, and I specifically remember making a point of looking at Devon. He had a look in his eye of game on, and there was a timeout called. And what do you remember about that particular game against Coastal? And then you completely flipped the script. I think you actually led by 1 going into halftime. So from like the 16-minute mark on in the first half, what do you think flipped for this team against Coastal Carolina?
I mean, definitely, like, going into the game, I think, especially for me being the lone senior, I was really intimidated just because it was a new facility, Coastal's home floor, opening night, it was packed, the crowd was intense. I was just, like, even going into the warm-ups, I was like, man, here we go. And then kind of getting back to script, getting back to our scouting reports, just sticking to the basics. I knew going into, we had some tough guys. I know they had Rafa,
Yeah,
and I just remember him being their emotional leader. So it was, still keeping my defensive mindset as well as having the pressures of it being like the tournament. And, but when we went on that run, that little short run, definitely going into halftime, giving us some momentum, I kind of was like, hey, second half, we got to leave it on the floor. And coach just reiterated that to everybody. The second half, we balled in and, we went on our run. And, fortunately, they never got to kind of meet us back. So,
yeah, you beat Coastal 78-61. Devon had 28. Tomasz had 14. Trap, you had 8 points, 5 rebounds. Joel, you didn't score in that game.
That's about right.
Something's wrong with that.
No, I'm joking. I want this to kind of be fun. Obviously, you look at the game you had against Gardner Webb. You had 11-7, I think.
We should talk about that game some more.
We will. Where each one of y'all had particular moments, and I've sent y'all videos. When you get a chance, go back and look at them. I'm sure some emotions will flood back once you do. Not right now, but when we're done. You shared with me, Joel, about that timeout and what Dale Lair had told this group. What do you recall about that timeout when you're down by 11 or whatever, that first media timeout against Coastal?
Yeah, it was weird because I think I checked into the game at that meeting, maybe not, but I remember just sitting and Coach Lair was like, that is the best they can, like absolute best they can play. And he said, we just weathered the storm, and now let's just play basketball. And it was true. Like it was so loud. I think Rafa hit a couple threes, and like one was deep to where it was like they weren't missing before that first media. And it was strange because we just kind of used that opportunity, being down 11 or whatever it was, to settle in. And I think that was like, that's where the tournament almost started, in my opinion, was like at that point, because we just got back to basics, and we knew all year that we were, we had a lot of guys. We just didn't click the entire year. And so it was almost like we're down 11 and we only have, 3/4 of the game left, or whatever it is. Like we got to make something happen. And I think that's when Devon stopped missing threes. I think that's when Tavares didn't miss a free throw line jump shots for the rest of the tournament. So, I mean, it was at that point we had taken their best shot, and it was just time to settle in as much as we could.
Yeah, I did a video interview with Aaron Schreiner, your trainer, yesterday, and I said, hey, I'm going to catch up with some of the guys from 2013. He says hello, by the way. And he mentioned you, Tavares, your mid-range jump shots. You were just – that was your sweet spot. And you move on to the quarterfinals.
Automatic.
That's right. You move on to the quarterfinals. I had forgotten – you beat High Point by 1. You had to withstand a late drive by them. It went off the rim. Y'all won by 1. You guys were up by 17 in the first half, and they came back, outscored you 38-22.
Sounds like our team for sure.
Yeah, in the second half.
Right.
Trap had 17. Devon had 16. Cabe had 12. Joel, you had 4 and 3. And looking at Tomasz, 4 points, 4 rebounds. What do y'all remember about that quarterfinal game? John Brown did not play for them. Alan Chaney did. But being what it is, it was a tight game all the way to the end.
Yeah, we if I remember correctly, JB hurt his foot one of the last week of the regular season, and there was a chance he was going to come back. And I don't think we knew, because I think they had a bye, so that was their first game of the tournament. I don't think that we knew until he came out on crutches if he was playing or not. I could be wrong.
Right.
That was my memory. And so at that point, it's like, if we beat Coastal at home in front of by 17, like line them up. Like at that point, we didn't care, right? And then you get, JB was probably in conversation for Player of the Year that year with, he was like a double guaranteed. And so when we were like, oh, he's not playing, and Alan Chaney was like an NBA player, like but when we saw coming off that emotional win, nothing to lose still, we're clicking obviously in the first half, and John Brown wasn't playing, we thought like, oh, like let's go. Like I think we stopped being intimidated after the Coastal game.
Trav, is that how you saw it too?
Kinda. That was pretty much head on. Definitely coming off the momentum with Coastal. When we got up early on High Point, I was just like, this is surreal. Like it was just a surreal moment, because I was like, if I'm not mistaken, they were the number 1 seed overall.
Yeah.
So to get up early on them and kind of just stick it to them, I think they were surprised more than anything. But we were just, like I said, lights out. Everybody was on, pretty much the same page. And if you even look at the scores, we, some games I may have scored single digits, but everybody in terms of a team effort, we all kind of bought in. And, we put aside how much we're scoring, put aside any, personal goals we had, and just, locked in as a team. So, and then of course, I think Alan Chaney was he a redshirt senior or?
Yeah, redshirt senior.
Yeah. So it was his last go around too. So I think I remember switching off a couple possessions on him, and him just saying, like, hey, we ain't going out like that. And
they did.
Just to, I remember, Joel, you kind of switched on him too. So I mean, he became that second half. He became a monster, and he was a real force to deal with.
So semifinal Saturday. It was March 9th, 2013. you're facing off against Gardner Webb, Tomasz. They were 21-11 going into this game. You guys now were up to, let's see, you were at the time 13-20, and they were either the second or third seed, and it was a 2-point game at halftime, and it went right down to the wire. You're looking at this box score, and all you guys are talking about at this point, y'all threw caution to the wind and said, "Hey, let's just go play." And everybody contributed. J.R. Coronado didn't score in that game, but he pulled down a game high 8 rebounds, had a couple of blocks.
So the joke on our team
looking at this, Tomasz, this game, I'm like, okay, we're going to win, and so let's just go do it.
Yeah, I have to interrupt you first about JR. He's my guy for sure, but our joke on the team was that whenever he gets that many rebounds, because he's rebounding his own missed shots. So that was perfectly. Shout out to my man JR. We still try to talk every now and then. Great guy, great character guy. He basically was one of the guys that really bought in and put his pride on the side, and he really just wanted to win. And not even that year, but next year, all he was trying to do was be a piece to a bigger puzzle that our team was. And I think we knew right away that our backcourt would rely on Trap, on Cabe, and on Devon, and then everybody else was kind of contributing. We had a big we have a lot of players when it comes to big men, when it comes to our rotation. We had Joel, we had JR, me, Andrew Smith. We had other guys coming in from the bench like Casey Roberts, Chet Downley. Everybody was contributing, and I think by that point, that might have been our first back-to-back game during the tournament. And what I remember from that time was that in between the games, in between those game days, we were just spending time like super relaxed, not really feeling any pressure, just enjoying the moment, going out to eat to all the nice restaurants. It was kind of like sort of a thing like, what do you guys feel like eating tonight? Yeah, maybe we'll get some seafood. Okay, we're going to a seafood restaurant. That was part of the NCAA allowed treatment for the players back then. We could choose our restaurant to eat, and then also just doing stuff like instead of going to a cold tub, we would just go to the ocean with Aaron Schreiner, our athletics trainer, and we'll just do our cold tub in the ocean. Those are like little things that I remember that definitely just made the whole week that much more enjoyable. So I think by that time when we played Gardner Webb, you couldn't talk about any type of pressure. We were just having fun, enjoying the moment. Everybody was fully bought in, and it also takes a lot for a coach in that moment to kind of realize that, okay, these guys have it figured out. I just need to manage them in the right direction. So I think during this whole conference tournament, Coach Lair did a great thing of just making sure we play our strengths and don't try to maybe over plan or over prepare for some games. It was basically like, take those matchups one-on-one, try to win those matchups. We know what we're good at. We'll stick to those same plays that we've been doing most of the season. We introduced one, Joel actually reminded me of that a couple days ago. We introduced this one play that was specifically for Devon Marshall, and we used that play maybe like 15 different times, and he made basically all his threes that tournament. So it was a kind of a side pick and roll reject, usually by Cabe or Trap. And then the 5-man, instead of rolling to the basket, he would set a screen for Devon, who was coming from the top of the key for basically a pullback pass and a 3-point shot. So it was a moment where we all clicked at the right time, and coaches, the whole coaching staff did a great part of just playing through that with our strengths, making sure they don't overcomplicate things. So when we played against Gardner Webb, we were basically on a run, and we felt like nobody could stop us.
Jill, you're shaking your head in agreement to what Tomasz is saying. And Tomasz, Joel has echoed those same sentiments to me when it comes to the coaching staff and what they did to empower this team. How hard do you think that is for coaches to be a leader but not do too much? And why was that the best mix of ingredients you think that week, Joel?
If you look at that whole season, our guys really were trying to do the right thing, right? So like we weren't a team of egos, but it was a team of like everyone tried to do the right thing, whether it was Devon or Cabe. But if you got to remember, like at that point, Devon was a first-year player, came from junior college. Tavares is a second year from a junior college. Casey Roberts, first year from a junior college. JR's first year from a junior college. So we had everyone was trying to do the right thing, but you also have muscle memory from where you're coming from. And so I didn't feel like there was egos or animosity within the team at all. But that week, it was, when you have nothing to lose, and I thought the play, we called it 3, that coach implemented really just allowed us to get someone who could fill it up like Devon a really easy look. And if you also look at the shots that we were hitting that whole tournament, they were the shots that everybody felt most comfortable with. So Tomasz, it would be a 3 where driving kick from Cabe, or Devon circling around a 3, or Tavares, we found him at the high, at the free throw line. So if you look at the shots that we were making, it was the ones that we knew that we were best at all year. It was just coach called incredible game plans for us to be able to get in spots where we were most successful. And it's not that he was a little bit more hands off. I think because none of us were incredibly superstitious, but if we won Coastal the way that we won it, we were going to go with whatever we did to win Coastal, we're going to do. So we did a minimal shoot around. I don't think we went to the gym. I think we did shoot around at the hotel, same game day schedule kind of thing. And so whatever was working to beat Coastal, we were going to ride that until it didn't work. And everybody was on board. The whole team was and we were really relaxed. I mean, Tomasz, we were in the ocean every night doing cold tub. Our schedule was relaxed. We had, we were able to do what we needed to do. We had class as well. But I think it may be difficult to be hands off when Coach Lair was really good at managing a group of guys to kind of say, all right, I'm gonna back off for this week. But when you win against Coastal by 17, you're like, that worked. And then you go to, be able to put up the numbers we did against High Point. And I thought that Gardner-Webb was our biggest battle. That was the most emotional and physically draining game, in my opinion, because it's house money on Sunday, right? At that point, it's just whoever hits 75 or 80 first or whatever, I don't know. But the biggest emotional battle and physical battle was Gardner-Webb, because they were a physically strong team, and Tyler Strange was 240 pounds, and he's 5'10". He was so strong. So, but yeah, I mean, it was just, I think, good recognition by the coaching staff to be this is what our guys need to do to win, and it's working right now. So I'm not gonna interject myself just for the sake of thinking that that's my job. At some point, your job is to do what's working. If that was working, then let's run with that.
Yeah, looking at the box score from the Gardner-Webb game, you beat him 65-62. Joel, you had 11-7. Tomasz 9-6.
Okay.
Trap.
6 rebounds?
Pardon me?
I said 6 rebounds.
Right.
That could have been a season high for me.
Can you
Big
check that
time for
again?
you. Big time for you, Tomasz. Big
Trap
time.
had a hard 10 points, 3 of 14 from the field.
And hard, definitely.
Yeah.
Emphasis on hard.
That's right.
Joe just hit on it. Man,
who was guarding you? Who was guarding you, Tavares? Was it Landis?
The kid with the braids, the light skinned kid with the braids, the athletic kid from. Did he come from Valley? Fort Valley State or something like that?
I'm going to name some names here. Donta Harper, Kevin Hartley, Jerome Hill, Tyler Strange, Tashawn Newsom.
Newsom.
Yep.
That kid was a freak athlete. They definitely had some real aggressive physical playing guys too. That game, out of all the games of the tournament, that game, I think for myself personally, and I think I can speak for the whole team, we were tested mentally and physically. It was literally an exhausting game. And throughout, kind of heading into the tournament, Coach emphasized for guard rebounding. So you see Tomasz had the 6 rebounds on our, going over our film. Coach would always emphasize guards need to help. Gang rebounds, help the bigs. Because, of course, Cabe being smaller, Devon being smaller, myself being the biggest wing, it was a big deal to go up against physical teams that we did, and to help the big guys out with rebounding. So that whole prep after going through Coastal, going through High Point, and then like, it doesn't get easier. Here we go playing High Point. I can just remember going into, I think remember dining rooms. We were doing dummy offense in the dining room.
Yeah.
We had like scotch tape where the 3-point line and the free throw line would be, and coach just box out. And here we are in a hotel dining room, like really intense, going through dummy offense. So I think our preparation and our mindset, I think we were zoned out, and we were definitely in the moment.
At that point, we know the plays, right? And
Right.
At that point, it's muscle memory. And I remember, our managers took such pride in making sure that dining room or ballroom, had the tape, and, they would draw the key, and it would have the hash marks for, a free throw. It was, everyone took pride in what their job was that week. And, I couldn't tell you who was a player and who was a manager that week, because it was, in the locker room afterwards, it was, every single person knew they did their job that day.
Right. I definitely, I feel that way. It was crazy, because if you think about it, it's something as simple as masking tape in a ballroom. Who would take that serious? But it was serious business. Coach had a whistle. He had his he had his game plan. He had his coffee per usual. Or
his
coffee
hand
or
sanitizer.
tea.
Don't forget that.
Hand sanitizer. Right. Right.
Yeah.
We're always ready. Considering the situation we're in right now, we are definitely the most prepared team in the country for the coronavirus pandemic. Because every day, every practice, every shoot around, we all started with a hand sanitizer that was passed on by our coach, and we used to call it the juice. So it was always
get your juice, baby. Get your juice.
There you
baby.
go.
Get your juice.
Yeah, let's get some
That's
juice.
right. As we look ahead to the championship against Charleston Southern, I think I've shared this with a couple of you guys. The beginning of that day, and my in-laws live near Myrtle, so I was staying with them. So I was commuting back and forth and got to the gym. It was a 12 noon tip-off, and you guys were over the top late getting to the gym. Now, the game tipped off on time, and it even got to the point where game operations people were coming to me asking me where the team was. I'm like, I don't know, and I think I was texting Schreiner or somebody, and somebody texted back, hey, we're good, tell people to chill. And was that part of, hey, whatever we've done in the past, we're just going to continue to do? Was that part of the mental state of what we wanted to do going into that game, you think?
I think so. Coach did a great job of given the circumstances of us really having a not so great of a season, and then going into preparing mentally for these games. I think he did a great job, and even myself freaking out the entire time, because it's every game could potentially be my last. He did a great job of just keeping us bought in, everybody's nerves under check. But getting to that Charleston Southern game and just seeing how much time was left on the clock and your body being physically sore and beaten up, it was a definitely crazy thing for me to kind of even realize, hey, we're running late. But Coach did a great job, man, of just keeping us calm.
Dude, I remember we had breakfast. That was the only night of my career that he took our phones the night before a game.
Oh yeah,
I remember we went to breakfast. We had our chapel, and it's funny because he had a 4-chapel program set up, and he probably thought he was gonna do one lesson, you know what I mean? Yeah. But it culminated at this point, and it became again, if we look back, man, I can't believe we were so bought into something like that. But it was this. It was this. I think it was Daniel, and or no, there's this guy in the Old Testament, and it just says, yeah, he went into a snowy pit one day and tore apart a lion with his bare hands. Yeah, and you can go by and read that and in the Bible and never give it any thought. And he was like, do you guys understand what that?
Understand, right?
So it became that was our lion chasers thing that week. I remember we had chapel, but to me, we were never panicked about a time frame, because our preparation in layup lines was never what won us games, period. So that week it was we show up 10 minutes before, we're good to go. If our ankles are taped, we're good. And I remember getting off that bus on a Sunday. I think we played at 12. We probably got off the bus at 11:10, 11:15.
Yeah.
and like there was no panic, and it was like, all right, let's get out there. We had like, I think we cut our warm up in half,
Right.
and like just got after it, because at that point it's like you're riding on fumes anyways. There's no reason to try and make something that's not beneficial for you guys. Come on.
Rumor has it John Caleb Sanders didn't sleep the night before because he was getting treatment on his ankle, and he came out and had 27 points.
Yeah, he probably shouldn't have played as far as pain.
Yeah, we didn't know about load management back then.
Definitely didn't. Definitely didn't.
Yeah. We were just trying to play it out.
I think I played 38 minutes per game every game.
But were you ever tired on Sunday? Like
I was tired, but at the end of the day, it was like I've said, we were in zombie mode.
Yeah,
like we were all just
for sure.
Like, let's go, game time.
Another thing that go ahead.
No, go ahead.
All right. I was saying another thing that I remember I noticed during the championship game is that we showed up to the gym, and out of nowhere there are Liberty fans in the gym.
Right.
And that was something that throughout the tournament, like the first game, probably nobody really believed that we'll be there longer than 2 nights. First night to the night before the game, and then second night after the game. But after we got the win, slowly with every game, you could see some more people with LU gear on in the stand. And then we show up to the championship game. I wish it was national championship game, but we show up to the championship game, and out of nowhere you see everybody dressed up with the collars, families, family of players flying in just to see us play, and it was something amazing. And I remember we also kind of had like this funny bond with the marching band and with the cheerleaders, because we were the only in the women's basketball team, because we were the people that were there from the beginning. So we all understood we were here. We were one game away from winning a championship. So it kind of led to some funny moments where like you felt like you have a special bond with the marching band, because you're like, oh, these guys were there since the beginning. These guys were there supporting us when nobody.
Take a look at some of those videos I sent y'all. There is a great tight shot of that celebration. I'm not sure which game it was. It might have been after the second or third game, and it was a specific, and it's titled, you can see, celebration with band. So it's kind of funny you bring that up, Tomasz. So man, all these emotions starting to flood back. And I was going back, we posted the radio broadcast a couple of days ago, and from the jump, you guys went up 3-0. Cabe hit a 3, and then I'm just looking at the box score here. You're up by 1 at halftime, then you outscore them by 10 in the second half. And again, you talk about Joel having a team-oriented team. Andrew had 5 and 5. JR had 5 and 8. Devon had 20. Trap, you had 18 and 9, 4 assists, 2 steals. Cabe had 27. Tomasz had 7. Joel, you had 5 and 8. And so that particular game, you beat them by 11. And what do y'all remember about the celebration and what that was like to finally – I mean, at this point, as you say, it's house money on Sunday. You did it. And if you go back and listen to the radio interviews, each one of y'all we had on with me, and y'all couldn't speak. You did not know what to say. Right. And I can only imagine being a student athlete in a moment like that. I mean, I'm just the radio guy. Thank you for compliments of what I mean to the program, but physically enduring that week, and then you won the championship. I can only imagine on that dog pile what that felt like for y'all.
I remember. We all cried at some point. I remember a couple things about kind of those final moments. I remember like Trap hit a buzzer beater at half, like he pump fake and then had a free throw line jumper, and I was like, oh, it's game over. Like it's over. We just gotta play a point for point from here on out. But I remember I fouled out, and then like. See, Twan was like one of my closest guys on the team, but I know he felt very odd with like he's not he had to take on like a whole new role. He probably never thought he was going to take on that year with his injury. And I remember sitting there. I think we knew we were going to win probably within the last 3 minutes. It felt like and I was like, I think if you watch, I was like, yo, what do we do? Where are we going? Where are we going? And Twan's like, man, we're going down by the middle of the court. What do you think we're doing? And so. I remember like it was. If you watch, it's like a super awkward. Like we've never probably dogpiled before, but it was the most like natural, um, response. And I remember I kind of stood away. I got my hat and I closed my eyes. I put my hands on my head. I'm like, are you kidding me? And like, it's like so loud. It's like silent. One of those things. And
You've seen that photo of you, right,
and then I
Joel? With
open
your
my
arms
eyes
up?
and there's 6 cameras in my face. I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
all right. But I also remember, I think it was Coach O walking around. He's like, y'all know how to cut a net, right? And we're like, no. And he's like, all right, so you got to cut one side. And then we saved the last one for Coach whoever. And it was just funny because we hadn't prepared our minds to win a championship. We had prepared to win every media timeout or whatever it was. And so when we got there, like, oh, like, I never thought about like what we would do if we got here. And I think so often, like in anything, you can prepare so much for that moment and then you lose out on the process. But like we were so bought into like winning every 4-minute period for that entire week. When we got to the end, we're like, oh, I have no idea what even to do right now because like we're here and this isn't even what we were thinking about. We were thinking about each minute up until that.
I mean, for me, Southern game, just the end of the game, and to look back at the teams that we played to get to that point, I think we had the toughest road in the tournament. Like if like whoever, the final seeds, I know that, goes into, how we're placed or whatever, but it couldn't have been a harder road to get through. And our story, the lion chaser, the guy going in, taming the lion, literally the only thing I could think about the entire time is like, how are we going into these games just, bodies torn down, our preparation of not even putting up a lot of shots, not even, being on our legs. I just broke down. I remember literally going over to the sideline and just breaking down, like holding the game ball and crying, and Solo coming over to me like, hey, you did it. We did it. And I was like, I can't believe it. And I think the first actual person I spoke to about the game was Alan York. And he asked me like, Trap, what do you think? And I was just like, I looked down and I was like, man, I don't know. I don't know.
That's exactly what you said. Yeah.
Sounds about right.
I don't know.
How about you, Tomasz?
Definitely. I would say going into that game, it feels so weird now looking back, but I don't think throughout the whole regular season we beat Charleston Southern, and they were always that one team that we always struggled against. But then going into that championship game, I feel like you could go one by one, all our players, and we were confident 100% that we're going to win that game. Of course, it was going to be a battle. Of course, you would have to, fight through fatigue, fight through the struggles of playing another game in a short amount of time. But at the end of the day, everybody was so confident and so bought in into winning that game that, like Trap said, like you don't know what to do, you don't know how to react. And I also remember talking to you and just being speechless. I definitely cried during that moment. I didn't even know what we were supposed to do. If like we get the banner right now for our team, or like what do we have to do? Like,
are the rings here? Are the
do we
rings
get
here right now?
Do we get a team picture? Like, how does it work? Yeah, exactly. So it was just a very special moment for us. And I also remember, Trap, I don't know if you remember that, and maybe I don't know if how you feel about sharing that, but I remember going back to the locker room, and you just fell on the floor, and that was something I remember that you were you just broke down and on the floor, and we just all like got around you, and it was like a special moment for us because for me, like I said, emotionally, going back to that senior night, I feel like we really didn't do what we were supposed to do for Trap, playing a terrible game on the senior night. So now having Trap being a Big South champion, that should have been a appropriate reward for him for having to go through a bad senior night moment. So it was a special time. And also remember right after that, we all got to pray together. The prayer was led by Coach Lair, which was also a special moment. And after that, we got a team dance off, and it was so funny because day by day you have such a big respect to the coaching staff, to everybody on the team staff, and then in that one moment we just got in a circle and everybody started going inside, doing a little dance, and then passing it on to another person, and then out of nowhere you see Coach Walden over there doing a little electric glide, whatever you call that, You see Coach Joyce, who is always a very, very disciplined, serious guy, and just enjoying the moment. And that was something definitely special for us, being able to just cheer each other up and enjoy this special moment.
Another
Gold,
cool
gold all
thing
on my
that
chain.
that's right. We
Oh, yeah.
Gold all on my chain.
Yep.
Play that
Gold on my
song.
watch.
We played the last minute 30 seconds of it. Cade would be the DJ. He would run to the radio wherever we were at. Well, mainly at Vaughn's, but we went on our, I think it was after really Radford. After we got on that momentum and was like, all right, let's finish out strong. We played that last 1:30 every game since then.
Yeah, Trinidad James, all gold everything.
All gold everything.
So one thing that was really cool years after that I found out was like, so Charleston Southern, one of their assistant coaches who ended up being the head coach at Furman, he recruited Atlanta really heavily. So Sa Nimley was from Atlanta area. Cedric Bowen was from here. Arlon Harper and Jeremy Sexton too. So I got linked up with them in a couple pro-ams down here, like after I moved to Atlanta. And what was funny was we would have similar conversations to just like that day or that memory. And Sa Nimley told me, he's like, yo, when we left the Vine Center, we beat you, but we knew that nobody wanted to play you guys in the tournament. And what was crazy was like, I don't even think we were at the point yet that we knew that. But the teams that were like beating us at home or in the regular season, they're like, we don't want to see them because if they actually click, like it's game over. So those guys that we were lined up against were like, oh, this is the least surprising thing because we thought we stole a win from you guys back in January. And that was like perspective that I got like 3 or 4 years later after we won or after that season. And I was like, man, like it was right in front of us the whole time. And it just took 1 week to figure it out.
I think one of the indelible images I've got, the post-game press conference after you beat Charleston Southern, a reporter presented the question to Dale, hey, you're 14-20. Do you deserve to go? And Dale was like, we got the hats.
I mean, it is a distinction. It is going to be a distinction. You guys, I guess, are the second team with 20 losses to ever make an NCAA tournament. I mean, it seems like an incredible.
That's awesome. That's great. We got the hats, right?
Yeah, for sure. Well, he also had another thing that stuck with me probably for the rest of my life. He said, in that moment when you start a season 0-8, grown men quit.
I can't tell you how many days, unless you've been on a team in the nitty-gritty and seen them lose 8 straight, a lot of people quit after that now. A lot of men quit. A lot of grown-ups quit. Not these two. Not them guys in that locker room. And I'm proud of them.
And those are the moments that a lot of people, they just say, all right, it's time to wrap it up. Let's try to pack our stuff and wait for the next season. And he said it was just a special moment for us to come together at the right time, click. And it doesn't matter how the whole regular season went, because at the end of the day, like Trav said, our path to the championship, we had to face every good team that was in our league at that time. And whether it was High Point, who was the Big South leader, whether it was Gardner-Webb with the best overall record in the conference, every game was a battle. So we really had to prove to everybody that we are the champions. So I think despite the fact how the regular season went, I think we earned it. We definitely earned it. And it was just a testament to our work that at the right time, everything clicked, but we never shifted away from our core values, which was just to work hard. It all started in preseason. Every year we would go through a boot camp where you go through a week of, I would say, hell, when you don't touch a basketball, but you basically just beg for the weekend to show up so we can finish boot camp, because you go through 5 a.m. Sessions of working out, running lines, running suicides, doing defensive drills, slides, doing exercise on the Vertimax, all that different stuff that just put your body to the limit. So when you go through that in preseason later, whatever life throws at you or throughout the season or even in life, I think like you're more accustomed to it because you already went through the worst that the life has to offer. Well, okay, well, it's metaphorically speaking, but you went through the worst part. Now it's just time to play the game and do the right thing on the court.
Yeah, I
Couple more
definitely
thoughts
remember.
here. Go ahead, Trap.
Yeah, I was just kind of running back on Tomasz speaking with Coach Lair. I think I not to place myself outside the team, but of course just to reiterate the kind of pressures I had on myself as being a senior, just having talks with Coach like individually before and after games. He would always talk about manhood. So one of his biggest stories to me was he spoke to me about life after basketball. So saying, regardless of what happens here, your season is over. Look back at what you accomplished. Going into Charleston Southern, he said something funny. He always ended everything with a joke, but he said, now you can look at this game several different ways. Like I think Joel or Tomasz just said, this game is, brings out the men. But he also ended with, you can tuck your tail or you can man up and put all the BS beside. And, as oddly as that sounds, it did a lot for me.
Wow. Some really, really cool memories. A couple more thoughts I want to get to before we sign off. Just a thought from each of you playing in the NCAA tournament. I know for me, it was an intense game. You're down, you come back. Andrew Smith had a phenomenal dunk alley-oop. And then obviously the game ended with Cabe's drive, the length of the floor. The travel getting up there to me is indelible for me because we tried to get out there, I think, on Sunday. NCAA wouldn't let us. We had to go on a Monday, and I think 3 planes flew in. The first 2 had mechanical issues. We finally got up there late. They whisked y'all away to the practice, and just from the jump, it was so rushed. I don't know if y'all felt that, but typically you go the day before the practice day, and then you have a practice day, and then you can relax. But it was less than 24 hours. We were in and out of Dayton, and I'm like, did that even happen? And for me, selfishly, some of my colleagues have said, hey, when you go to the tournament, soak it in. Enjoy it. I didn't have 1 second to do any of that. And so that's kind of my stories on it. One story from each of y'all of what y'all remember about going to the tournament. Yeah, you lost, but still – you're a select few that actually got to play in the big dance. And I think that's pretty cool for all of you.
Yeah, for sure. I would just add to that story that you said with the travel. I remember Coach made a rule that everybody has to dress up. The dress code was business, so everybody had to wear a tie, a shirt, and just dress up in things that we usually didn't use at that time. And I remember going to the airport, and everybody already felt a little bit uncomfortable in these clothes because day by day we were sweats. Or if we had to go to class, we were jeans. The rules at Liberty were different at that time. So now I remember we had to go back to campus just to wait it out, and everybody was just sitting on chairs, couches, and everybody just felt more and more irritated by having to wear suit and tie or a shirt and a sweater, whatever. So you see people just, like opening up their ties, unbuttoning their shirts. So I just remember like it was a little bit of a moment of definitely happiness that we get to do it for sure. We definitely felt blessed, but at the same time, there was a little bit of a moment of being irritated with the whole situation. Like I'm supposed to enjoy this. Why are we here early in the morning stuck on campus because we can't fly to Dayton yet?
See, I remember it was like the travel was a complete fiasco, but I do remember like once we got to Dayton, the arena, I was like, oh, like, because we had a police escort and stuff like that. I remember we pulled up to our hotel and like the receptionists were wearing like Liberty shirts. Like it was like you could feel the weight of it. And I probably didn't think about that until you mentioned it, Alan. Like, we didn't soak it in because it was so fast, but like we felt it, but like we didn't get to like enjoy it, you know, because it was so quick. Now we obviously enjoyed it, but I don't think that we had the perspective then that we do now, where it's like, that is like, if we did it again, like how differently we would be like absorbing and soaking everything in. But I mean, I remember me and Trapp did media. Craig Sager was in there, and then Steve Kerr called the game, I believe.
Yeah.
And it's like, man, like this is, you could feel the weight. Although we didn't get the full experience just time-wise like we were hoping to, feeling the weight of it was like, you felt like we're not in Kansas anymore.
Yeah, I definitely, I knew. I mean, I just remember our practices prior to Selection Sunday. We were under the impression we were playing, I think, someone from the SWAC conference, and then to come to actually sit down and then, you know, Selection Sunday, we were playing someone out of the Mid-Atlantic. So it was, I knew it was kind of all over the place going into. Definitely when they delayed I think they delayed a flight, and then we actually took the connector from the Lynchburg airport. Remember how small the plane was?
No, we've charted that one.
No, was it not the small, the connector from?
That was a charter flight.
To the charter
the
flight.
charter flight. Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
that was covered by NCAA.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So I remember taking the connector flight to. Did we go straight to Dayton, or did we go to Dulles?
Yeah.
Okay.
Dayton.
So I remember that morning getting up, getting on the plane, and just getting into Dayton, and everything was business. It was about business. Even when we had our practice, it was like, you know, don't touch the floor until exactly, I think we had 45 minutes. And then I had complications with my shoes. You know, Nike issued 2 shoes, and the shoes that I ordered were too small, but I had to play in them. They wouldn't even allow us to play in shoes that we played in prior to. So it was a lot of not only technical issues, but, you know, a lot of going on as well. So
who was on the floor that final play?
Myself.
I don't even remember if I was.
Cave
I know
obviously
myself,
was.
Myself,
Devon. I would say JR for sure.
JR
Because of the rebounding
Drew.
ability.
Yeah.
Drew, I think Drew may have been as well.
Mm-hmm.
Well, as we wrap things up, I was watching the ESPN 30 for 30, the class that saved Coach K, 1986. They go to the NCAA final against Louisville. They didn't win it, although they did win their ACC championship. And Coach K made a point. I hope y'all realize that you're a piece of all of the other championships we have won. And a thought or two on what Coach McKay is doing right now with this basketball program. And I know for me, I hope y'all feel that you're part of the road that's been paved to get to where this program is now. And the pride that y'all have when y'all do see Liberty with the big lights on him right now, and just the job he's doing to elevate the program that you guys once played in.
Yeah, I mean, I'm incredible amount of pride. I think, you know, it might be easy to be like, oh, we helped build this, but at the same time though, like the guys on the floor are the ones putting in the work, and they're the ones that deserve all the attention. Like they're the ones that are winning 30 games and like giving Liberty a national recognition. I'm at the point where, you know, Liberty basketball is not who my identity is. It's something I'm extremely proud of, and I'm so thrilled to be a part of it. But I'm at the point where it's so fun to just kind of sit back, you know, with my wife or with my son, and like just purely be a fan, and not need to make it about myself or have concerns outside of outside of those guys, like it's so fun to just to sit back and be a part from a distance, knowing at one point, we put the work in, and at one point we were, the guys on the floor, but, letting those guys have their time, have their moments, and just celebrating them and promoting them as much as possible, because the program's going in such a good direction. It's just fun to be, a part even from a distance.
Yeah, I would say, like Joel said, it will be a little bit unfair to take any credit for the amount of work, the amazing work that Coach McKay and his coaching staff and all the players that have been at Liberty the past few years have done. They took the program to the new height, and all the credit goes to them. It's pure joy to watch them play. Even though they, some people might say that the pack line is not that attractive to watch. I would say otherwise. And now I'm in a situation where it makes me proud to be a former Liberty basketball member. And even I had a funny situation last year where Liberty went to March Madness. We had a little game going on my Spanish team, and we had a little bracket challenge. And I was the only guy from the whole team that put Liberty to upset on Mississippi State. And we had all the brackets in the same place in the locker room. And people were just looking at me like, dude, what are you doing? Like, come on, they don't really have a shot. I'm like, dude, just watch what happens. And, personally, I also got an experience to play against Mississippi State later as I went to graduate school at University of Mississippi. So that also had an extra flavor for me. Just Liberty not only winning their NCAA game, but beating an Ole Miss rival. That was a special moment for me. It could count as a double win, in my opinion. So it was definitely a fun moment for me. But like I said, it would be unfair to take any credit for the work that Coach McKay and the staff and the team has put in. Personally, also, I got to go back to Liberty 2 years ago in the summer. Me and Andrew Smith, we got to visit campus and see the team. Team was actually doing camps at that time, and it was unbelievable the welcome that we received from the team, and that also speaks something about the character of Coach McKay, where he didn't get to coach me nor Drew, but the way the team welcomed us, how we were invited to share our knowledge with the players, to get in the gym, get some shots up on you, and just spend some time around this one big family. And it was amazing. Also, it was great to catch up with Aaron Schreiner. Schreiner is our guy. I also got to spend a little bit of extra time with him, dealing through all the injuries throughout the years, throughout my basketball career. So it was a special moment going back, seeing how campus is expanding, and to see the basketball team expanding and then growing as well. It's amazing.
Yeah, I mean, I think I got a perspective being a junior college guy. I definitely think my time at Liberty, all of the roller coasters that we had with the two teams I was a part of, but definitely all the credit in the world to Coach McKay and his staff. I think they're great guys, a great group of guys. Even I think my introduction to some of the coaches was, it was great. They were opening. They were, at this time, I think the facilities hadn't been completed, but they were in offices. So they were actually working on the locker room. And, they gave me a tour, and just to see the transition that the program has taken has been crazy. And then to the guys actually out there putting it on the floor and giving Liberty, a total different name, in my opinion, from switching conferences and completing to what all they've done. It's been crazy ride to actually watch those group of guys. So it's definitely a proud moment for myself. Definitely wish I had more time at Liberty to experience some of the things that 4 and 5 year guys are experiencing. Definitely see it in their games as well as within their love for each other. So I think me and Joe actually spoke yesterday or a couple of days ago about how the difference between a coach coaching over 500 plus kids in his life compared to a kid spending 5 years at a place, or 4 years rather. So just to kind of see those guys play at the top of their game and put Liberty on the map. It's been great.
Well, guys, it's been fun catching up with each one of you. Look forward to putting this piece together for our fans. And I know the 2013 season is not going to be forgotten, no matter how many years go down the road. But it looks like everybody's doing really well. And be sure you're staying safe. So thank you for the time, and look forward to catching up soon.
Yes,
Sal.
for sure. We're looking forward to that 10-year reunion in 3 years.
All right, sounds good.
Yeah.
Great call.
Looking forward. It will be a great time to
I'm
go back to
there.
mine.